This is an emergency broadcast on all YouTube bulletin stations. There is currently a massive emergency. Please.
Hello there. There is not currently a massive emergency. What a load of nonsense. What there is, though, is a lot of confusion out there. And by the way, hello and thank you for joining me on this impromptu Monday Night Live. I know I don't normally do Monday Night Lives. Wasn't around last night, though. So apologies if you were looking forward to coming to your local Adams Arms. We are open for business on the Tuesday Club. We are open for a Friday night knees up this Friday and on Sunday for a Sunday social. And there will be more content in between. And today, I also just want to quickly say thank you to those who've subscribed. One of you, though, kind of ruined everything a little bit because I was going to do this whole thing about how we now have 1,931 subscribers, which, of course, I don't need to tell Arsenal fans, is the year that Arsenal first won the league. Herbert Chapman became the first Arsenal manager to win the league. Also, the last manager to retain the league before he sadly passed away. And I thought it was interesting to know it took him 6 years. So I had this image of like a 1930s, this manager. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. But I do just want to say thanks to all of you. Like, subscribe, comment, and keep this interesting. And to the regulars who, I couldn't do without you. So lots of love to you. But this really is more of an opportunity for me to answer some of the confusion that seems to be out there. The confusion has been that ever since we overtook Liverpool at the summit of the Premier League, we have been installed as favourites. This is not an opinion, by the way. I know some of you will be have rage clicked and be like, what is this lunatic, naive, deluded gunner talking about now? Yet again, another Arsenal fan who can't see past the fact that his team lacked the cojones to win the league. Isn't that? This is just a factual statement. Arsenal are favourites. You cannot argue that. It's unarguable. But there is some confusion about what that actually means. Being favourites doesn't mean we're going to win it. It just means that that's who the bookies have put. Now, if you don't believe me, head off to any bookmaker in the UK and see if you can put a bet on. Arsenal are currently worse than even money favourites. So we are clear favourites by every single bookmaker in the country, as well as the fact that Liverpool are now 4-1, or the better part of 4-1, and Man City are 5-1. I'm also going to be talking about the Carling Opta, which predicts, which is a different thing. But the reason for this video is because, I saw a couple of things. I'm going to let's play one of them that sort of sparked my interest. This is Jamie O'Hara. Some of you may never have heard of him. I envy you.
They won nothing last season.
I know they didn't.
So they're the third favourites for me in the Premier League.
So this is Jamie O'Hara. Basically getting really confused and upset by the idea that Arsenal, not a team that he's fond of, should be considered favourites by anyone. And his reasoning is, we've won nothing. Well, and that in itself is quite obvious because there's no point making someone favourite after they've won it.
They're not. The bookies will tell you they're the favourites.
As I just mentioned, if you go to any bookmaker in the country, they will tell you that we are favourites.
But that's absolute garbage.
Well, don't
It's not garbage, it's facts, and facts don't care about your feelings.
How can they be favourites? How? Please tell me how Arsenal can be favourites.
That's why I'm here. That is exactly why I'm here. So how can Arsenal be favourites? Well, look, first of all, we absolutely and categorically were not the favourites going into this season at all. Liverpool won last season at a canter, never really looked in any danger, and added 400-something million pounds worth of quality talent. Let's be honest, we all wanted Alexander Isak. He was the number one pick anyone would want. He's going to come good. Florian Wirtz was a player that was wanted by Man City and by Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich thought they had him, and Liverpool pulled off a bit of a coup in getting him. Let's not pretend that Florian Wirtz is not going to come good. He's an excellent player. And Kerkez was in the team of the season. Frimpong's another great player from the Bundesliga. They did well. They also brought in Hugo Ekitike. So you'd think that the team that was the strongest team in the season last year adds that kind of quality to it. they're going to be favourites. Sure enough, they started off the season not quite looking brilliant, but certainly not looking bad either. And everybody was quick to jump in with their opinion that actually this is exactly what champions do. Champions play like shit and win. Same sort of thing they were saying about Man City last season. One thing that I found really interesting is just to prove the point that we were not favourites at the start of the season. This is, I really like this. This is a poll I found on TalkSport where you will find Messrs. Cundy and O'Hara. And it basically, there we go. Let's do this. This, as you will see, is who will win the 25-26 Premier League. And as you can see, I don't know how many people voted, but it's TalkSport. It's not going to be like 20, is it? 70% of all fans thought that Liverpool were by miles the favourite. Then it was Arsenal. But more interestingly, another poll, I really love this because I don't know how many people voted in that one, but the BBC had pre-season asked its pundits who they thought. So these are people, professionals who make a living out of discussing football, and their opinion, you do have to take it somewhat seriously. But they, from the match of the day, Football Focus, Final Score and 5 Live, they asked if some of these I don't know. Chris Waddle, as you can see there, actually went for Chelsea. He's the only person who did. They asked 33 of their pundits. As you can see, Joe Hart, perhaps unsurprisingly, and a list of, there were 5 that went for Man City. Then this long list of 21 people, including Wayne Rooney. It can't be easy for Wayne Rooney to predict that Liverpool will win the Premier League. Chris Sutton, Shay Given, there's a whole list of them. 21 of the 33, so over 65%, all went for Liverpool. As well as Matthew Upson, Martin Keown saying that Arsenal would win it, which you would expect. There's not really that many others who backed Arsenal. I don't have to pretend that I backed Arsenal. I actually thought Man City sneakily. So I'm still in the minority. The AI doesn't say anything else about it. It just says AI, artificial intelligence, went for Man City. So I'm at least in line with them. An Optus supercomputer. And this is really important. It's important, but I can't say it. Optus supercomputer basically runs 10,000 simulations given the information we have at the start of the season and works out to the best it can who's going to win the league. Obviously, these simulations are prone to errors because you don't know all the information. You don't know how well players are going to settle in, who's going to be injured, and all the other things that might happen. But essentially, Optus supercomputer felt very strongly Liverpool were going to win it, as did everyone else. So what has happened from before the kickoff of the first game to week 7? It is only game week 7, and we're only 1 point ahead. We're not even that far ahead. So anyone who's kind of clicked on this video to see me explain why I think it's absolutely right that Arsenal should be favourites, I'm about to disappoint you. Here's the reality, though. We are favourites, and we're only a point ahead. We have played Liverpool as well, and they did beat us. So really, I forgive anyone for not understanding why Arsenal are favourites, but here's why we're favourites. Well, before we do that, actually, I just also want to play this because just to show you the level of confusion.
People like Jamie O'Hara, and I don't like Jamie O'Hara's comments.
Who does?
In general, he's just he just tries to rattle people. Same with Cundy. However, what he's saying is spot on. Yeah, why are Arsenal favourites?
Now, Lee Gunner does not always come across like someone who will get concepts quickly, but I think he'll get it when I explain it. But here he is, having his say on just how ridiculous, and don't forget he's an Arsenal fan, so just how ridiculous it is that we're favourites.
They've won a league for 21 years. They've never won a Champions League. How has anyone got them as favourites? Liverpool are current champions. Man City have won 6 out of the last 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they've done a treble in the last couple of years. Arsenal have won fuck all in 6. So how are we favourites when there's no evidence to suggest we can get over the line?
Now, that is essentially the big point. The reason you would not necessarily think Arsenal are going to win the league might be because you look at the past 3 seasons, haven't been able to do it in 3 separate occasions. fans who are not Arsenal fans or don't love Arsenal deeply might well be happy to point the finger and say, you're bottlers, you don't do it, you don't have the winning mentality. And there's no arguing with those people. You can't say they're wrong. They haven't been so far. But it all gets a bit hazy from here.
But people don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear it. There's lots of things that Lee Gunner says I don't want to hear. In fact, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, factually, it's correct.
Factually, it's correct that we haven't won the league in the last 3 years. That's factually correct. Factually, though, we are favourites.
And until this guy proves it, the same as, say...
I did warn you, it gets a little bit fuzzy here.
I don't know, fucking Crystal Palace with Glasner. Oh, Crystal Palace had never won a major honour. Well, Glasner proved he could do it. So now you go, shit, Palace are a problem.
So essentially what Lee Gunner's saying is that Crystal Palace can't be favourites for a thing until they win the thing. Or now you could say, Crystal Palace would be favourites for the FA Cup, or I don't know, maybe even the league, because as he goes on to say...
Because now they've gone 18-19. Well, obviously they lost yesterday. They went 19.
Lost.
Yeah, but at the same time, they still lost. But he proved against all odds he could get them over the line. This manager has only proven he can get over the line before he spent money. Now he's done nearly $1 billion and he can't get over the line.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with Lee Gunner. I don't have a crystal ball. And as I already said, I thought at the start of the season, Man City would probably win the league. They're not that far behind us. I could still be right. YouTube these days seems to be about everybody needing to prove they said it first. So all of these people, like we saw the list of experts, the fact that so many of them have changed their opinion after 7 games means, can you take the opinion seriously anyway? I certainly don't expect you to take my opinion seriously. Don't throw a load of money on what I say. But we are getting to exactly why Arsenal are favourites. Just a little bit more from Lee Gunner. I beg you, listen to my man Lee a little longer, yeah?
How are we favourites for anything?
I'm going to explain it, Lee. Don't panic.
Factually, for 5 years of his own money, we can't get over the line.
Depends who it is, though. Depends who it is. You got to remember the teams that want us who make us favourites.
So Kenny Ken's going to go on and explain that the people who are making us favourites, they all have an agenda. They have a reason to make us favourites. And I hate to break it to you. Well, let's listen to them a little bit.
Very level doesn't want Liverpool to win
No, the bookies make us favourites.
Yeah, but you're the bookie, but they did work 2 weeks ago, though.
That's true. The bookies have changed their mind. Start of the season, Liverpool were strong favourites. Now, 7 weeks in, there is a clue in this, by the way, guys, as to why we're favourites and weren't favourites before.
Really?
No, because
the bookies do change. Odds change. It's a marketplace. I'm coming to it. Don't worry.
they go off of what? The recent, the same as football fans. They go off of what's fashionable.
2 weeks ago.
So this is where I think it's worth jumping in for a moment. Bookies do not go off what's fashionable in the sense that they don't try and predict the league. Bookmakers have no interest in making predictions whatsoever. The betting market that every single UK bookmaker is using to make Arsenal favourites is basically a marketplace. If everyone in the country is if everyone in the country is betting on Arsenal, they shorten the odds to make it more attractive to bet on someone else. At the moment, the fact that Arsenal are favourites is not because any of the or all of the bookmakers think that Arsenal are going to win the league. It's not because Gary Neville thinks we're going to win the league. It's not because of anybody on their own thinking Arsenal are going to win the league. It's because so many people are putting their hard-earned money on it, betting on it. And that is just democracy in action. That's what the majority of people think. Doesn't mean they're right, by the way. I lived through Brexit. The majority can be wrong. I'm not sure Arsenal are going to win the league because 70% of the betting public are thinking it. And those of you who do have the occasional flutter will know that you put a bit of money on Arsenal right now because, they've had a difficult first 7 games and come through it, only to find out, shock horror, that Arsenal aren't as good and we lose a couple of games and it will swing out again. Just like the Carling Optic supercomputer changes its mind and does so frequently. It is also worth remembering that although Arsenal are favourites in the Carling Optic supercomputer, we're 42% favourites to win the league according to this computer, which means that it's still a better chance we won't. If you combine all the other odds together, it's still a better chance we won't. There is, at the moment, it seems, only 3 horses in this race, but that can change. We are only 7 games in. It's foolish to try and predict who will actually win the league. But the fact that we're favourites is nothing more than a reflection of the fact that everybody's betting on us.
Your favourites. So what's that? All we see.
And if we lose to Fulham and Liverpool lose to whoever they're playing next,
our favourites.
then Man City win their.
Yeah, I hate to agree with Lee Gunner, but you do have to agree with him when he's right. If all of those things happen, if Man City overtake us or we have 2 defeats in a row, we will not be favourites anymore.
Game, then Man City are favourites.
Yeah, but you know what? Basically, what the people who want Arsenal to win the league, who think they're going to win the league, are Goldbridge,
Terry,
who are Man United fans.
Terry.
Who don't want
Henry
Liverpool
talks bullshit who gets 5k views on a Spurs fan account.
He's always a bit bitter about other YouTubers, isn't he? Like, does it upset you when someone gets 5,000 views? That's why I don't upset Lee Gunner, because like guys hit the likes.
but those guys
35 on an Arsenal one though.
Yeah, but those guys don't want us to win it on debate by default. Gary Neville wants us to win it by default. Jamie,
I can't stress this enough. It really doesn't matter what Gary Neville wants, Mark Goldbridge wants. None of them, unless they put significant amounts of money in the bookmakers, make any difference to who's favourites.
Jamie Redknapp thinks he's going to win it. Not because he thinks we're great, because he thinks it's our turn. A lot of people who think we're going to win it, it's because they think it's our turn. Yeah. Right?
Oh, stop it. It's your turn.
Y'all listen to this guy.
Well, now, this is Jamie O'Hara again, and I've just put this in here because I want to illustrate just how silly it gets when agendas come into it. Because, listen, Jamie O'Hara thinking that Arsenal won't win the league because we haven't won it 3 years is probably or probabilistically correct. He's right. We haven't won it in 3 years. Why would you? I'm not asking you to go and put any money on it, but this is when Jamie O'Hara gets confronted by an Arsenal fan, or presumably an Arsenal fan on TalkSport.
You're not the favourites. You can't.
We are that. It's worth saying as well. I'm being unfair to him. At the time, we were favourites, but at the time, and this is a problem for Jamie, we weren't top of the league yet.
Can't be the favourites. You ain't won the Premier League since 2004.
The bookies.
I don't care what the bookies say.
He doesn't care what the bookies say.
You beat the bookies, didn't you, mate? Yeah.
I don't think Jamie O'Hara beats the bookies most weeks. I just don't think so.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
It doesn't matter when we last won it. You're looking at form this season.
I'm looking at the form. Who are top?
We're playing better
He gets a bee in his bonnet here.
football than Liverpool.
Who's top?
By one lucky free kick.
Who's top?
Who's top?
Who's top?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Jamie. Will you say that?
Who's
Has anyone else noticed this on YouTube where people just ask you the same question they know you know the answer to and they think that's debate? Right. So, fortunately, Soli doesn't keep shouting who's top.
top?
Liverpool by 2 points.
Okay.
Guy does answer him. Otherwise, it would have been a very short clip indeed.
They won't be after this weekend.
But, okay, right now, Liverpool
will you
are the
say the
favourites.
same?
They've won.
Okay,
They're
so
top
will
of the
you
league,
say
and they
same
won the
next
Premier League
weekend
last
about
season.
Arsenal?
What?
Will you say the same next weekend if Arsenal are top of the league?
No, I won't.
So that's the thing. So it's not where he makes a big deal out of the fact that he can't say Arsenal are favourites because they're not top of the league. But now that we are top of the league, Jamie O'Hara still doesn't think we're favourites. That's okay. It's just a misunderstanding of what the term favourites means. Hopefully, it's clearer for you now. Favourites does not mean very much at all. It just means that at the moment in the UK, bookmakers would rather you bet on someone else because there's a lot of money going on Arsenal. People's hard-earned money is going on Arsenal. May not be next week. It might not be after the international break. Who knows? It swings. At this point, can we all just get our heads together? 7 games played. Nobody knows who's going to win the league. And the kinds of muppets that sit here and say, I'm telling you, my opinion is a fact. They're just not worth listening to. And there's a lot of them about, just like there are a lot of you about. And I'm now, thank you for your patience. I wanted to get that off my chest. Hopefully, anybody watching this who didn't understand how betting markets work and genuinely thought that bookmakers give a damn who wins. They don't. Listen, if you've ever bet on a tennis match, right, there's no draw. It's either person A or person B. And yet when you add up the odds, it never comes to 100%. They don't care who wins. They spread the betting anyway. They usually lay off your bets against somebody else. But what bookmakers are doing is reflecting a market. They're just a marketplace. You want to buy a bet on Arsenal winning the title, so do 15,000 other people. you're going to get worse odds for it. I don't know. Have any of you put a bet on Arsenal? I certainly haven't, and I'm not convinced that we're going to do it either. But I'm manifesting, and not because I'm some new age hippie either, by the way. I'm coming back to this because shameless no, I can't remember his name. Shame Gooner. I don't know. Some of you, I was alerted to the fact that I have made his top Gooner list. Beautiful. I'm coming back to him. I'm coming for